Hello and welcome to Where You're Not Entertained. I'm Daniel.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm James.
And we are going to be talking about Red Notice today. It's a
Netflix movie.
Netflix original.
A Netflix flick.
Netflix flicks. Well, I guess I don't know if it's a Netflix original, actually. It premiered on Netflix, but it was also available in some theaters.
Oh, okay. It had a theatrical release.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which I didn't really know.
It did, because when we went to a Cinemark theater a few weeks ago, they had posters for Red
They did have
Notice,
posters for it. Yeah, that's
which
true.
is one of the first times I've seen a Netflix film with a poster in a real theater.
In an actual theater.
And I know it happens.
They've released some in theaters before, especially because of the way the Academy Awards were.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be up for any Academy Awards.
I don't think so either. No.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. It was fun, though. It was a good time, but I watched the trailer, and I got exactly what I expected from the trailer.
Right.
No more, no less.
It did exactly what it said it was going to be.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I looked at this and it had a lot of bad critic reviews, and a lot of them said the same thing. This is exactly what you expect from a crime caper with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds. And for them, that's a bad thing. But to me, it was like, I'm in. It's going to be fun. It's not going to be like great quality, but it's going to be an enjoyable time.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first, I was a little concerned of how kind of goofy it was, but then I just kind of started thinking of it. Have you guys ever heard of the animated movie or TV show Lupin the Third?
No, I've heard of it. I haven't ever seen it or anything.
It's about these criminals who are trying to steal stuff, and they're being chased by a detective all the time, and the love affair and things like that goes on with some of them. And it's really funny and goofy, and once I kind of just was like, oh, this is like a live action Lupin the Third. Not quite as good, but pretty close. Then I enjoyed it, and so I just had to like not really expect there to be some grand reason why this is one of my favorite movies, and just an enjoyable way to have a good time for 2 hours.
Yeah. To me, this was a cross of, I would say, a much less sophisticated cross of the score and Indiana Jones, which they definitely put that in your face. There's no denying that it's trying to take the lead from Indiana Jones. I think more. Yeah. I think more so, geez, if I could talk, more so toward the end than really the beginning. I think the beginning is kind of more of like the score to me.
Yeah.
But with comedy and no real crime sophistication whatsoever. But yeah, it was definitely just it's solely for entertainment. Like, it wasn't trying to be anything that it wasn't. I didn't think, anyway. It seemed very on the nose with what it wanted, and that's what it did.
Yeah, I think it reminded me a little bit of the other Ryan Reynolds movie that came out on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it exactly, but it was a number like Super 7 or something like that.
I know what you're talking about.
It reminded me a little bit of that, in the sense that it's not goofy per se, but it is not taking itself seriously. It's Ryan Reynolds sort of being turned loose on his particular brand of comedy and his particular way of doing things. It's the same character that we see from him in a lot of movies, and it works. And especially with The Rock, who again is somebody who has a very specific type that he tends to play in movies.
As does Ryan Reynolds, usually.
Yeah, they fit together really well. It's a lot like the relationship they had in Hobbs and Shaw.
with Jason Statham.
Yes. Well, I mean, with Ryan Reynolds
Ryan
and The Rock.
Reynolds and The Rock, yeah.
Oh yeah. I almost forgot he was in that.
Yeah, he's not in there for long, but
Yeah.
it's sort of that
He's the
same
CIA
quippy
agent.
banter
Yeah.
Right.
where they have this love-hate thing going on. And it really works for them. And it is exactly what you expect. It does what it says on the tin.
Mhm.
But it's fun.
You know, I'm glad that you said that, because I was actually going to bring up that is the one thing that didn't work for me. By the way, the movie you were talking about was Six Underground.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
But for me, I was kind of taken aback, because I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling that Ryan Reynolds character anymore. Like, it seemed a little, I don't know, maybe he's gotten too old, or maybe I've seen it too many times. I didn't think he was bad. It just, I don't know, it didn't work for me. It's getting a little played out. And maybe that's because he doesn't have, he's still youthful, but the guy seems like he's in his, late 30s, 40s. He doesn't seem like a rapscallion young, 20 something anymore. So it didn't seem to sit as charmingly with me. It was a little bit more petulant and less appealing.
It was absolutely petulant.
Yeah.
Right, which, when you're really young and super handsome and charismatic, there's kind of that, like, you can get away with it. Now that he kind of looks like a dad, it's a little less appealing. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, I get it.
I agree with it.
Yeah, sure.
I think that was an intentional choice in this,
Yeah.
because I think he's supposed to play off that way with The Rock. That way they're not both sort of doing
That he's past his prime.
similar characters. Well, yeah, because if you look at The Rock, he does a lot of that same sort of comedy that Ryan Reynolds does.
Right.
And he is older, and I think he has a different sort of edge to it. But I almost think Ryan Reynolds needed to be more petulant, more pissy, if you will, about the way he did things, or else they would have come off very similar.
Yeah, I can see that.
You can't both be the knowing, sarcastic jerk.
Well, and we'll go ahead and say spoiler alert. But also, if you think about it, Ryan Reynolds' character is supposed to be very anti-law enforcement. So petulant child is actually, absolutely what he would be playing against FBI, BAU character, which is what, as a character, which is what the Rock was playing. So I think that part of it kind of fit. I understand what you're saying, though.
I'm not saying he did a bad job or that it didn't fit. I'm just saying that
it's not really your thing anymore.
With me anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and maybe it was just this one time. Maybe the next time I see Ryan Reynolds doing the Ryan Reynolds thing, I'll be like, oh, that was charming as hell.
Have you seen Free Guy?
I have not yet. I really want to.
Okay, fair enough. I was just curious.
Yeah. Well, and I think with the way his character is supposed to be, that super arrogant, cocky guy, but then he's been brought down a notch and forced to work with the FBI, I think it would naturally come off a little more sour.
Yeah.
I do love that he's just leaving him to die. Like every time he gets an opportunity, he's like, "Oh, well, that went bad. Oh well, gotta go."
Yeah.
Until
you'll be remembered.
Right, exactly. Until the reveal at the end, obviously. But,
right.
But yeah, no, I thought that was that was pretty funny. That every opportunity. Oh, yeah. Oh well, gotta go now. Because what else do you do? You're just gonna drag the FBI agent with you? No. Thanks for saving my life. Bye.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and this is kind of like every other big budget Netflix movie we've seen, right? They've got a specific thing they do. And I was kind of surprised that this thing had $160 million budget.
Whew.
Yeah.
That's
Really?
steep.
yeah.
Whew. Yeah, I wonder how much of that goes into salaries.
Yeah, because you've got 3 massive stars in this.
Yeah, I doubt that any of them get out of bed for less than $20 million.
Well, and it's the Rock's production company that did it.
Okay, so maybe he gets out a little bit for a little bit less than that because he'll make it on the back end.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I feel like the majority of that money went to them. I feel like it had to. One of the things that I'd kind of noticed, and so was doing a little research on, there's not a lot of, like, it's an action adventure movie, but there's not a lot of places that you see, right?
Right.
There's not a lot of those landscapes and backdrops that you would normally get from a movie like this. And that's because a lot of it, turns out, is that a lot of it was actually filmed on set.
Right.
So
and
they-
it felt that way. They had those like stock footages of the Amazon forest, and then you end up like they're clearly on a set because of how dense the foliage is in the background to make sure you can't see the set behind it.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, they had a lot of title cards and then a lot of indoor shots.
Mhm.
Right. And shots of just like the 3 of them, you know.
Mhm.
They had the party, so that had more people at it or whatever.
Yeah, not a lot of people in general in this movie.
Yeah. Well,
This
and
movie could have been a stage production.
Well, I was about to say, it turns out that it started filming in 2019.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
that hurts.
Once you get into 2020, the landscape is completely different about what you can and can't do, and remain reasonably safe for everybody that's involved in the production. And so that's
Right.
probably where a lot of that went. They might have had more grandiose ideas in the beginning and kind of went, well, we can't really do that now.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
that's good. They get my what I call the pandemic pass.
Pandemic pass. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of a shame that it gets released end of 2021, because you don't really think about that as much. You don't think about that it's, like I said, started in 2019. So you'd think, oh, maybe they just kind of threw this together at the beginning of 2021 and then released it on Netflix, and some stuff had kind of opened up a little bit more, and there was availability for vaccines and that kind of stuff, which kind of takes away some of the forgiveness.
Yeah.
And then instead of that, you look at it like, oh, that was just lazy. But
Yeah, this wasn't a rush job. This was it got delayed.
yeah,
And we're just getting it now because I'm guessing
Exactly.
they wanted to do some justice to it.
right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Netflix doesn't normally have long production times.
No.
So you look at it through that lens as well. Of
Yeah.
it's Netflix, so it must be a pretty quick turnaround. And for me, I thought it was really refreshing to see Gal Gadot in this type of movie.
That's
I mean,
what I was
she's
gonna
done
mention
some
that.
action adventure stuff before, obviously, with all the Fast and Furious movies and
Wonder
Wonder
Woman.
Woman.
Wonder Woman. And this seemed to be her funniest, I think, that I've seen her.
Agreed. I thought she was really charming.
Yeah, she wasn't taking herself very seriously, which isn't something we've seen her do in a lot of other movies.
Yeah, a lot of those roles are supposed to be, even though they're action adventure, they're supposed to be more serious.
Right.
More serious characters. And not
This
really.
was definitely a comedy. And
Yeah.
these were comedy characters. And they'll say, in a comedy, you don't mind if a character says something slightly out of character if it's funny.
Yeah.
Whereas, other movies, even action adventure movies, you want them to like stay hard in character at all times and be true to it. And it was nice to see her in something where she could kind of break out and have that more of a comedian role, and I thought she did a great job. I thought she was charming and funny and had some really good lines.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she had some great lines.
She
Yeah.
was. She had some good quips, and she also had a very likable way of delivering some really sarcastic and rude remarks.
Yeah.
Like, she just always had this sort of like smile or laugh, even when she'd say the most horrible thing. And it was like, God, even though you just said, like, you just roasted the hell out of him, that's still so funny and nice. Can we be friends? And I like that. I appreciated that about her because, you know, I'm always sort of worried to see people in these comedic roles because it takes a certain sort of timing.
Mhm.
But she did great.
Yeah, I thought as far as the comedy, action, acting portion of this, I think three of them did really good. A little bit left to be desired as far as the production, I guess. And again, I kind of explained that, so there's some understanding there. It would have been nice. I think the movie would have been better if it were a little bit more like offset and in location for some of the stuff.
Yeah.
I think it would have made it a little more interesting, a little more cool.
Yeah.
And you could kind of break up the monotony of just the 3 or 4 person frame for
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. And, something else I hadn't thought about very much is that this was a PG-13 movie. And when I think back on some of the Ryan Reynolds movies I like the most, they're always R-rated.
Yeah.
So I wonder if his style, it's a little harder for him to rein into PG-13 if it just doesn't work as well.
That
Maybe.
may be. Yeah. I don't know.
Because when I think about, he's so good in Free Guy and Deadpool, but The Hitman's Bodyguard, these are all R-rated films.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he needs just that little extra freedom.
You forgot Green Lantern.
Oh, God, he was the Green Lantern. Look, he got his wife out of the Green Lantern, and I think that's more than was deserved for that. So,
Well, fair enough.
Right.
If the movie was good for one thing, there you go.
I didn't hate Green Lantern as much as everyone else does. I'll just say it.
No, I didn't either, but it was super campy and the CGI really sucked.
It wasn't good. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying I think it's like Nickelback.
Right. Yeah.
It gets a lot more hate than it deserves, but it's still not good.
Yeah.
yeah, it's more trendy to hate it than
Right.
to admit it was just decent.
It was fine.
It was blah.
Not the worst 2 hours I've ever spent. Like,
Hey,
No.
they didn't go for the full green bodysuit like Jim Carrey, so it's a letdown.
right.
Hey. Anyway.
You guys want to get into favorite scenes?
Yeah, I think. Well, I guess the only other thing I was going to say about this is that, and Rachel kind of touched on it about critics not really liking it. It's got a Metascore of 39
Whew.
out of 159. We'll call it 160 critic reviews. The IMDb rating though is a 6.4.
Oh, I think that's about fair.
Yeah,
I feel like 6.4 is pretty dead on to how I feel about the movie.
right.
It's good.
I think that's one of the things that we do is technically we're movie critics because we talk about movies. That makes you a critic, but
Right.
we
We literally
things-
critique the movies.
Right. Yeah. But we view things differently. We view it based on entertainment value. Is it something we're sitting down and watching and not, is this the best movie, or have they done something completely different from what I expected and surprised me? Because that's where you
Advanced
get those.
filmmaking.
Right.
Right.
And that's where you get those high critic reviews, or if it's like some artsy movie and, those
Yeah.
sorts of things.
There is nothing groundbreaking, nothing deep.
Yeah. I think a 6.4 out of 10 is probably well deserved, just because it is what you would think it is. Like, if you've seen the movies that these people have been in, and you watched a trailer for this, and you're like, oh yeah, a little action adventure movie with a heist in it. Yeah, that's with these three characters. Absolutely, it's what it is.
It is a great popcorn movie.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
Agreed.
and I would watch it again.
Yeah, it's fun. It's casual. You don't have to like really pay attention.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I wanted to say. So yeah, now we can go on to favorite scenes.
All right. Well, I went first last time, so who wants to go?
I'll go first.
There we go.
My favorite scene was actually at the beginning, and it was the entirety of the initial robbery and chase.
Or lack of chase.
The lack of chase. He chased him
Through the museum.
Through the museum, yeah.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed you kind of have The Rock come in, and he just sits there and pretty much takes some abuse from I guess he's the curator or
the director,
the director of the museum, whatever he is, who's just like, absurd, you know nothing. And then essentially
nobody could steal this thing that is unprotected, sitting out in the open in a crowd of people.
Right.
Yeah.
But just calmly shuts him down, you know. So I enjoyed what that kind of tells you about the character that The Rock is portraying, that Dwayne Johnson is portraying, which is also another character. Right. He's a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. But then when you actually get into the chase and using toward the end of it, using the scaffolding and pulling the pins out and letting the guys that are climbing up it fall down, I thought that was pretty funny and clever, because normally it's like what you would see is they climb up the thing and then whoever's being chased just knocks the whole thing over, right?
Right.
And they didn't do that. They actually used it as a tool to kind of prolong the chase and make it kind of funny as well, which I thought was cool. And then once you finally get to where they meet up, where I guess John and Nolan kind of meet up and run into each other.
That's right. They have names in this movie.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do. You know, they get, or I guess The Rock tackles Ryan Reynolds out of the window. And then you get into the foot pursuit where he jumps. Nolan jumps off of the building and onto the tarp or whatever for the guy's hut that's selling stuff. And the guy's just kind of, he's mad at him because he like screws his stuff up a little bit. But then you get John jump off. And of course, you know, he weighs 200 pounds more and just crashes straight through the thing and totally destroys this man's display where he's selling all his goods. So I thought that was hilarious because, you know, they take the whole little, just bounce off the top. Nope, I'm gonna wreck it all.
It hardly just goes straight through.
Yep. But then my favorite part of all of it is when Ryan Reynolds steals the little scooter and The Rock he jumps in the Taycan, which is, I don't think that he would actually fit. to tell you the truth. So there's number one, and he's like in and out of that car like it's perfectly sized for him.
Yeah. No truth in this art.
Right. But I love it when he gets in it, he starts it up, and he just peels out to try to take off after him and immediately slams into another vehicle. And that's the end of it. There's no like
so bad.
There's no he made a couple turns and then wrecks or loses control or no. It's a well, there you go. And you've just destroyed somebody's car. So good job there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. That little portion from when he jumps through the
Mhm.
booth and steals the car and ends the chase right there with the gelato truck. That was my favorite scene
Mhm.
because that's kind of the only time the movie did something surprising.
Yeah, that is true.
But absolutely. The Rock just hops in the Taycan, which I think he'd fit, except there's no chance you could just get in it and drive off. He would have to adjust the hell out of that seat
yeah, he's
to
a huge
cram the
dude.
rest of his legs in there. But
If you hopped into like a Ford Raptor or something,
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, no problem, whatever, that's cool.
jump
But-
up in the big Range Rover.
Yeah,
But the fact that when he peels out in the Taycan, it doesn't really make a lot of noise. There's that electric whirring. I really appreciate that because too often in movies you see them get in an electric car
Mhm.
and it makes all sorts of sounds. Like there was something, I can't remember what we watched, and the guy hops in a BMW i8,
Mhm.
which is an all electric car, and it
Whoa.
roars off down the street.
What is that?
But you just have to imagine it's playing out of the stereo.
Right. Yeah.
This is my
exactly.
soundtrack to leave. But yeah, I just love that Booth steals that little scooter and shoots off down the way, and then he crashes the Taycan into a gelato truck of all things.
Oh, I hate.
And the gelato truck driver's so mad.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And I also,
Rightfully so.
you're right. Yeah. I love and I hate the fact that they used Beastie Boys Sabotage for that. For like
Why?
that,
I thought that
for
was
that
great.
20 seconds.
Yeah, they amp you up to this huge, great chase, and then nothing.
Yeah. Well, so I love it because it's great music and it does put you in the mood that they're trying to put you in right before they suddenly
Perfect for a fake out.
smack you in the face. That song, I love that song in a lot of instances. It did not fit with the movie. I didn't think at all.
Mm.
And so it was just like, and to me, when I hear that song now, it makes me think of Star Trek.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about now, but I just don't associate those two at all.
Yeah. And that's fair. But like that's fitting for that song, right? You've stolen a vehicle, you flip the roof open and it goes flying off down the road.
Right.
You launch the classic Camaro or the classic Corvette, not Camaro, the classic Corvette off the side of a cliff as you slide and barely hold on to the edge. Okay, fitting for that song. But it's just in this moment, I was like, really? This is what y'all chose? I don't know.
I thought
It gets overused. It really does.
It's overused.
What was it?
at this point, but yeah,
Was it a Fast and the Furious movie that they used it in? Not that long ago. I don't. There was another
think
movie
so.
that I was like,
But there was
really?
something else. Yeah,
Like, I love the song. Beastie Boys are great, and I think it fits a certain mood. But for me, it didn't fit the movie as well in that instance.
Fair.
So, like I said, love it and hate it.
yeah, fair enough.
It accomplished its goal for sure.
Good scene, guys.
They're like, "You're gonna go get him." Nope.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah. So that was mine.
Was that also yours, Rachel?
yeah, it was just not as
Okay.
much of it, but yes,
Oh,
no, it was a great scene.
my bad.
I enjoyed
You're
the
gonna have
heck
to start
out of
picking
it.
your own scenes and stop cherry picking everybody else's.
Sorry. I'll
Hey,
just-
there's three of us. It's going to happen. Sometimes there's only a couple good scenes. Or sometimes, there's just an outstanding one.
or I'll just go first next time, so then it's not my fault.
There
Cool.
you go.
I can think on my feet. I'll pick something else.
Oh, okay. I see how it works now.
Anyway,
She's
so
just
I
being
guess that
honest, and you're just trying to make a good show.
yeah, I'm just a liar.
Yeah.
Sorry, I could pick a new one on the fly. You want me to?
No, it's too late. You've spoiled the moment.
I got one.
My favorite scene, thanks for asking,
Yeah,
was
I was
the,
about to.
It was a simple one. It was it was after the ball,
Uh-huh.
the party, when they're inside the actual. It's like trying to get into the room, and then it's not after the ball, but like the beginning and the setup is less interesting to me. It's really the once they've gotten the glass and they're trying to get into the room, and then they've gotten in, and then being caught by Gal Gadot's character, the bishop, and then turning around and the double cross at the end where all the armed guards show up, and just the fight scene through that too. I liked all of it. I liked the environment. I think it kind of encapsulates how I feel about this movie, with all of them, dressed to the nines and doing kung fu over a priceless artifact.
Yeah.
And,
the fight scene was really good in that. Yeah.
Right. And I thought it was really good altogether, and it was fun, and that's why I liked it. So nothing special.
Hey, that's perfectly fitting though, because it's kind of sums up the feel of the movie for the most part.
Yeah,
just in that one scene, which it was great. Like I said, I enjoyed the fighting in that scene a lot. I thought it was really good choreography,
and I like the environment.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I love I love when they smash open. You get the Rock smash open the glass and grab a weapon.
Yeah,
and then Ryan Reynolds, dong.
Yes,
right.
Oh,
exactly.
It was great.
Yeah, they played a lot of physical comedy based on size.
Yeah, how do you not?
Which is good.
Yeah, because even when he bursts free from the handcuff, the bullet hit it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I think that about wraps it up for Red Notice.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed our coverage of it. If you did, then please go online and like and subscribe. Make sure to join us next time on Were You Not Entertained?